Ranking new movies released in May from worst to best. I'm not gonna lie, 2025 has been a rough year for new movie releases so far, and May might be one of the worst months we've had. There's been a ton of really bad movies released this month. In last place, we have Hurry Up Tomorrow from the singer The Weeknd, who should have just stuck to singing because this movie is absolutely terrible. It follows him, The Weeknd, playing himself after he lost his voice at a concert. It kind of dives into his psyche, showing the pressure he's under, why he wants to leave the Weeknd persona behind him, which is all great and stuff, but it's explored 10 times better in his album of the same name, because this movie barely even counts as a movie. It's just like a glorified music video. The Weeknd just straight up can't act. Jenna Ortega is also really not doing good in this movie. It's trying so hard to be like artsy and abstract, but it comes off like they had no clue what on earth they were even doing. In 10th place is the live action Lilo and Stitch remake. I should know not to expect anything from these movies, but this was just pretty terrible. Not only does this movie completely change the point and message that the original movie was trying to get across to kids and families watching it, they pretty much just changed so many random things just for the sake of it. And listen, it's not like I'm a diehard fan of the original Lilo and Stitch movie or anything like that, but there's still just no reason for this to be made. Like, Stitch's CGI, that looks fine, I guess, and they brought back the original voice actor for him, so that's cool. I do think the cast is actually trying their best and have some okay performances in this, but again, they take a movie that's originally like 88 minutes, add 20 minutes on the runtime. It feels so incredibly bloated and overly melodramatic. But of course, this movie's already made $360 million in its opening weekend alone, probably gonna soar over $1 billion, and we're gonna get like 50 more of these just garbage live action remakes over the next couple of years. At number 9 is Fountain of Youth, a movie that kind of dropped out of nowhere on Apple TV. It stars Natalie Portman and John Krasinski, so you might be tricked into thinking it's worth watching, but don't be, it's not. John Krasinski and Natalie Portman are brother and sister, and he lives a life of adventure while she kind of just lives like a safe, regular, stable job life, and he convinces her, hey, come join me, we gotta go find the Fountain of Youth for this guy. For having a premise that sounds somewhat interesting, this is somehow the most boring thing you'll ever see in your life. There's so much janky writing in this, just awkward lines and stuff, it's just not worth your time. At number 8, we have Clown in a Cornfield. Believe it or not, this is a horror movie about, you guessed it, a clown in a cornfield. I mean, it's just like every single other new quote-unquote original slasher horror movie you've seen in the last like 10 years. Like, oh, this girl and her dad moved to this new town and find out, oh wait, there's this mysterious thing going on with a killer clown. It's not even like there's some good scares or kills or anything, it's just stupid. For number 7, take 1 second to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already and drop a like on the video. I promise eventually we will get to movies I actually liked somewhat, but at number 7, still a bad movie, Karate Kid Legends. This comes out on Friday officially, I believe. I mean, this is pretty much just like a to-be original version of the Karate Kid. Like, it looks so incredibly low budget, like something you'd find on cable at 9 p.m. I mean, just your typical Karate Kid stuff. Like, it follows this new character, Li Fong, as he moves to New York and obviously gets involved in all this karate stuff happening, but the way he gets involved in this tournament is so unbelievably stupid. I obviously won't spoil how, since it's not even officially out yet. I feel like they made this movie thinking they had like their own version of like Spider-Man No Way Home or something. Like, Jackie Chan's actually pretty good and funny in the movie, but Ralph Macchio has absolutely nothing to do in the film. He's barely even in it, only there for nostalgia bait. And again, I'm not like a big fan of the Karate Kid. I've never even watched Cobra Kai or anything, so if you're a super fan of this franchise, I guess it might be worth watching, but this is just pretty bad overall. 6, technically not a movie, it's like 6 shorts that ends up being like an hour and a half, so I'm counting it. It's Star Wars Tales of the Underworld. Just milking the Clone Wars for even more content. Like, you got Cad Bane's backstory and Ventures's. These are just pretty bland. I'm just very glad it seems like Star Wars is going to kind of take a break for a couple years and not pump out so many more shows and stuff, because we need to stop just milking the same exact time period with the same exact characters over and over again. There's only so many stories you can tell with these characters before it feels like, yeah, they're just milking this. And it's not like there was no potential for this to be good. Like, the Tales of the Jedi, when they explored Dooku's history, that was actually really interesting because there was actually stuff to explore there and stuff that people have been asking for. Who on earth cares about the backstory of Cad Bane? 5, finally to a movie that's actually just good, purely dumb entertainment. That's Final Destination Bloodlines. Now, I've actually never seen another Final Destinations movie, so I have no idea what I'm missing out to, any connections or references to other movies in this franchise, but I did have a blast with this movie. You do definitely get those crazy Final Destination kills that the franchise is known for, even though I was new to this franchise. Obviously, I knew what it was all about, but I was actually surprised how much I like the story of this. Like, it follows this girl trying to like break the cycle of death, and there's some really fun moments in this movie of them like playing with that concept of like, oh wait, are these people actually gonna have their gruesome death right now or not? Also, this was a great send-off for the actor Tony Todd, rest in peace. Number 4 is Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. I have so many problems with this movie, but it is overall a good film, just very disappointing. beginning as an ending to the franchise, in my opinion. Most of the problems stem from, first of all, there's simply way too many characters in this that just distract from everything that you really care about. Like, I want to see more of Benji, Luthen, Tom Cruise as Ethan Hunt. That's what I come to Mission Impossible for the most part. But we're introducing like 50 new characters in this film. It's not like the new characters are bad. Like Tremel Tillman from Severance, he's in this movie, but his character has like 30 seconds of screen time in a 3-hour movie because, again, there's just so much that even the good new characters don't get time to shine. I do also think the first hour and a half of this movie is kind of brutal to get through. It's not like all terrible, but there's so much nostalgia bait and bringing back people from like 30 years ago for like audience reactions and stuff like that. We're making so many pointless connections. You have to re-explain who the entity is, how he wants to destroy the entire world, this whole AI thing, because they don't have faith that people actually watch Dead Reckoning Part 1. But once you finally have them re-explaining everything 50 times again and the movie finally gets running, it does get really great in the second half. I just wish there was more of it because there's like only 2 big action set pieces in this, which is what you come to a Mission Impossible franchise for, but they are absolutely incredible, especially like that plane one you've seen all over the marketing. That was an incredible sequence. And of course, Tom Cruise as Ethan Hunt is great as always. If this is the final Mission Impossible movie, though, it feels like a kind of lackluster ending. 3 is Fight or Flight. I didn't even know this movie existed until it came out, but this stars Josh Hartnett, and it's essentially like Bullet Train on a plane because it focuses on a group of assassins all on a plane. Do not get me wrong, this movie is dumb as can be, but it knows how stupid it is, plays into it, and it just has some really funny moments, really fun and creative kills. Like, it's impossible to be bored this entire runtime just because of how insane this movie is. I honestly kind of like it a little bit more than Bullet Train, but I'm lower on that movie than other people. In second place, I have Friendship from Tim Robinson and Paul Rudd. This is a comedy that follows Tim Robinson, who's just like this most socially awkward loser guy you could ever meet, and he tries to become friends with his neighbor, who's played by Paul Rudd, and the movie's almost filmed as if it's like a horror movie or like a high-class drama film. But of course, it's Tim Robinson at the end of the day, so it's just absolutely ridiculous, but this was actually pretty funny. Now, I'm not gonna lie, you need a very high tolerance level of cringe if you're gonna watch this movie, because if you're not familiar with Tim Robinson's work, it's essentially like Michael Scott from The Office, but 10 times cringier. But it does work and make for a very funny movie. And number 1 for me in a very weak month overall is the Thunderbolts. This was a very, very pleasant surprise to me. Because if you would have asked me before this month, I would have put my life savings on the fact that I would have enjoyed Mission Impossible more than this movie, but hey, you don't always get what you expect. This movie was just very funny overall, a lot of really great, like, down-to-earth, grounded action that's filmed practically. But I think the 2 things that really make this movie work are, first of all, the Void, aka the Sentry here. Everything about this character, how they handled his powers, how he plays into the story, absolutely incredible. One of the better Marvel villains we've seen in a very long time. And the humor was actually pretty funny. It's sparingly used. They're not just spamming jokes every 5 seconds like a lot of Marvel movies. Comment down below your ranking of any new movies you watched in May. And hopefully June and July with a big summer blockbuster season are going to be better months for new movie releases. If you want to see my in-depth longer reviews of all the movies I covered in this list, click the playlist at the top of the screen for all those reviews. And if you want to see my ranking of movies from previous months from January to April, click the video at the bottom.